Season 2, Episode 5, Some of Our Favorite Things, Plot Tropes with guest author Marae Good. Marae Good was born and raised in Arizona, where she currently lives with her husband, 2 daughters, and their sassy Yorkshire Terrier, Butter. After an episode of crippling depression forced Marae to reevaluate her priorities, she found herself returning to an old habit, reading. Mesmerized by the words she could escape to, Marae started creating her own, and the realm of oblivion was born. When she's not writing, Marae loves to dance with her littles, run on hike in the mountains, or stay up far too late binging TV shows, most likely Vampire Diaries or Gilmore Girls. Marae is also the author of The Burns We Carry. Hello and welcome to How to Survive Until You're Published, the podcast, because if you're drowning in words, then so are we, and you might as well not do it alone.
We are super excited to have Marae Good with us on today. She was on with us last season and she is amazing. So we're super happy to have her today. And we're also excited to hear about your new book. So Marae, tell us about your book, and then we'll jump into the episode.
Hi. So it's a contemporary romance, and it is part of the interconnected series following my last book, The Burns We Carry. So it is following Nolan. He was a brother in the first book. So it's with his story, and it's with like an old flame of his. So it's just basically, it's a second chance romance. I compare it to having like vibes of like Sweet Home Alabama, like the movie, like with maybe like with some like baseball in there, and I don't know, it gives me kind of like Dirty Dancing vibes. I don't know why. I don't know if I put that in my head, but
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. I like it.
That sounds awesome. The Burns We Carry was amazing. That was an incredible book. I finished that one overnight. It was so good.
Thank you.
So, yeah, we're definitely excited. That's going to be super fun. So when is that coming out? Do you know?
So it'll be coming out in September.
Okay, awesome. That's exciting. Okay, well, today we're excited. We're talking about plot tropes, which is like a super, super fun topic. We're just going to kind of talk about how tropes can help us in our own writing, and then we're going to kind of go through some of our favorite tropes. So, Marae, just kind of open up the discussion. So like what benefits are there to picking and using a trope in your writing, do you think?
They're good like for like the plot, for like moving the plot, I think, and like they're like, it's a good way to connect with readers as well, like, and just like build certain connections like with your characters. And I think tropes are fun too, like not overdoing it, but I think tropes can just be really fun.
They are super fun. Yeah, I feel like it also kind of sets an expectation for the reader too, because tropes are powerful because they have been known for a lot of years and have kind of been passed down in story. And so when you use a trope, you're kind of like calling out to all your readers like, hey, this is kind of like this. If you like this, you're gonna like my book. So,
that is cool.
Yeah, and like what you said, it kind of helps structure and move along your plot a little bit too, because it gives you a little bit of a outline for it.
So when you're writing, how do you choose which tropes to use?
A lot of times I feel like for like the micro tropes, like the little ones that kind of just like pop in. Those ones just kind of, I don't really plan those, and if it just feels natural, I'll put them in, because there's definitely some tropes where I've started out and be like, oh, I want to do this, and then it just doesn't work, so I just get rid of it. But like for this book that I'm doing next, like I was like, oh, I want it to be a second chance romance, so like I built it off of that. But like there's also like, what's another trope? Like you, okay, so like, like the trope, like he takes care of her when he's sick or something. Like, yeah, I feel like to me that one is more natural. Like it organically comes in. Like I wouldn't build a book off of that one.
Yeah, that's kind of just like
they can kind of fuel scenes and things, though.
Yeah, that makes sense. They can kind of apply overall to the relationship or just to specific parts of the relationship.
So what are your favorite tropes? And that's a question for everyone, right?
Yeah, Marae, give us some of your favorite ones and let's talk about them.
Well, enemies to lovers, of course.
Same, yeah.
Like the best one. I mean, it's not the best one, but it's really good.
That's a really good one. I'm also a big fan of The Chosen One. I think The Chosen One's so fun.
Ooh, okay.
Oh yeah, it is.
So like a prophecy type thing, kind of?
Yes, like
Okay.
Harry Potter. Like I think those are just such a fun one.
Okay. I don't know why. I think when Harry Potter came out, maybe it was like a few years after that, somebody made some comment about how like prophecies were being overused and stuff, and so I've always been a little nervous to use them in my own writing.
I feel like I haven't seen it like recently though, as much, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Maybe it was just because Harry Potter was really big at the time, and I mean Star Wars and all of that, like where you see a few of them. But I feel like I don't see Chosen One done as much, but it's a good one.
Yeah, and that's actually what is in my book, so crossing my fingers. Yeah.
Awesome. Here we go.
I kind of decided to be like, well, I guess I'm gonna be one of those guys. Okay.
I think it's so fun. Because I don't know, it's fun to imagine like if it were you and you're like, okay, I gotta save the world now. Like I think it's cool.
It's kind of a cool thing. I want to talk about enemies to lovers for a hot second.
Okay.
I don't know, Marae, if you've watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, and if you are a Zutara fan. Are you a Zutara fan?
Okay, so I did watch it when I was younger. And I do, whenever I see like TikToks or like reels of them now, I do think that would be wonderful. But I'm not like super like devoted to it by any means.
No, like, I mean, me neither by any means. But like, I just think like it's so funny how well it was set up and then didn't happen. Yeah, like it was so funny how you could see it if you focused on it, you know? But then like Aang and Katara was set up too. It was just like, I don't know. It was just so interesting. But it like, I think because in my mind, Zuko's redemptive arc is like one of the best redemptive arcs of all time. Like in my mind, like I dream one day of being able to write a redemptive arc as clean and as clear as his. And so I just think he would have been it would have been a great little.
It was a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Yep.
Wait,
anyway,
so you guys mentioned Star Wars. I don't know. I'm like, are you guys fans of Reylo or no?
Reylo?
Like,
I might get some hate for this, but I actually don't hate the idea of it.
Wait. I don't think I know what that is. What is it?
So like Kylo Ren and Rey.
Oh, I am all over that.
Oh, good. Okay, we can all be friends.
No, it's kind of weird actually. My husband is the hugest Star Wars fan, like just huge, and he hates those last 3 movies so much. But when I was he hates them. And when I was working on my book, I think it was last year, I went back and I rewatched them all because I felt like the dynamics between Rey and Kylo Ren were kind of like similar to my characters, and oh my gosh, I was like, I was like freaking out, man. I like did all this study on the destiny connection that they had. Like
an underappreciated ship. A lot of people hate it, but I do like it.
Yeah, I do too. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like he had a pretty good redemptive arc as well. And so I just feel like there's good potential in that. You know, he was I don't know, he's a pretty solid character. I could see why people don't think he is too, but I think he's pretty good. You have any others?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Do you guys have any?
I've got one. So I got a kick, you know, I've got a 2-year-old, right? And I was trying to introduce him to some Disney movies. And so I pulled up Lady and the Tramp, which I hadn't seen in like a billion years. But for some reason, that trope of like the tramp who like has lots of women, but falls in love with an innocent, purified girl, and she like feels, I don't know, like in the movie she feels kind of like used. Anyway, I just like loved that.
Okay.
I don't know. Are you following a little bit?
You like the reformed like playboy?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to.
I'm like, I think that's. I'm like, I don't know, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen that done well in like Victorian era books.
Okay, yes, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I haven't. What's the word? I haven't seen it used a lot, and that was one that I was like, man, I think I would really like to do a book with that.
That would be cool.
Fun one.
You have me wanting to watch Lady and the Tramp. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Man, yeah, it's like, and I mean, like, it's so subtle because I mean, there's dogs, you know, and it's a Disney movie, so it's not going to be anything, but it just plants those seeds. It planted the seeds in my mind, and I was like, oh my gosh, this has potential. So yeah, I definitely agonized over that for like a solid 2 weeks. Tried to like,
It's so funny.
Put it into your book.
Yeah, tried to like outline a book based off that. I'm gonna come back to it someday.
That's so funny.
Okay, that's cool. I love it.
Yeah, that's how I find my ideas. Megan, do you have one?
Okay, I was gonna say heist tropes in general, or like fake dating.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And, yeah, that one's a fun one. I've been reading a lot of rom-coms like that lately. But yeah, just heists in general.
Heists are so fun. I feel like just the high energy of having to like break in. What's the big one I'm thinking of? Six of Crows is a huge heist one.
Oh yeah.
Just that energy.
Yeah, I mean, most heist books follow a couple of tropes where it's either they make the plan and you see them execute it perfectly, or it's like they make the plan but everything goes wrong, but something they prepared for like part A actually solves part D and part B solves part A. So that's like a huge trope when it comes to heists. At least that I noticed when I was trying to research like for a heist book, because I was like, oh my gosh, how are people clever enough to write this grand heist? I can't think of that, but the answer is tropes.
Yeah, because that would help you outline your plot a little bit to understand using that structure, understand how to put that together.
I really like single dad, like in romance books. I've read some really good single dad ones.
Oh man, yeah. I think after being a mom, I would love that. I haven't read very many of those, to be honest.
Oh, you guys need to.
You'll have to like give us a list of them.
Yeah.
I'll have to send you. I'm like, if you're okay with, they're a little spicier, but Elsie Silver has a really good one. I think it's called Heartless. It's a single dad one. It's really
Okay.
It's kind of like thinking back to the questions, Amy, that you were asking as we're like naming all these tropes. You had asked like, what do you like about this one? What kind of stories work best with it? What kind of characters work with it? That's one I think I've only seen it with like contemporary romance, which is fine. It's a good genre for it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. It fits a little better. It can fit a little better in places. I mean, it could be done in other circumstances, but it just seems to fit a little better. What about Grumpy Sunshine? What do you guys think about Grumpy Sunshine?
I love it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It makes me think of the Burns and Carrie. So, Marie, you kind of already touched on this with The Light We Lost. You set out wanting to write a second chance romance with it. When you're typically writing a novel, do you start with the tropes, or does it kind of come after other ideas?
I feel like it usually comes after other ideas. Like once that plot's there, then it kind of starts to come together. But yeah, I don't feel like usually I set out with the idea of like, oh, I'm going to write a book set just around this plot, like building off of that. My brain doesn't work that way. I have to have like a really strong foundation.
That makes sense.
So like the idea feeds into the trope a little bit.
Yes.
That's funny because I start with tropes usually.
Do you really? It's so funny how like we can just all think so differently.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I'm an emotional writer. I write with like my emotions, and so like if I watch a movie or read a book and like I just am really feeling it with something, that is what like drives me to write. Like I watched Hook. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Hook with Robin Williams.
Oh yes.
Yes, incredible movie. I watched it. It was probably like 3 or 4 months ago. It was a while ago, but like there were so many beautiful themes in that movie about like family and friendship and like letting go of yourself and like all of these just themes. I was just bawling in front of my entire family, which was really embarrassing. But like it got me going, and it was like those beautiful themes just made me want to go right. Anyway, that's just how I am though.
I love it.
Everybody's different.
I have another question for you guys that I kind of thought of. So when you're using tropes, how do you make sure to use them so they don't come across as like cliche or overdone?
I feel like that's where I have to make sure it serves like a purpose to the story. Like if I'm just throwing them in there, okay, so you know how everyone loves like sometimes when like a character will be like, who did this to you? Like I feel like if it's just being thrown in there for the fact of being it's popular, like your readers can tell, like if it doesn't mesh well.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's like more done for marketing and
Yes.
just writing to market than anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be used as like a structure or like a backbone or like a loose backbone to your story, but it shouldn't be the center of it. Like the other elements of your story should support it instead of
that's a good.
Yeah, instead of like being overshadowed by it. Yeah, which I don't know. Yeah, it takes you really have to mold your story to fit it well so that it doesn't come off as cliche, because it can. That's a good question, Megan. Gosh, you got me thinking now. So, let's just answer a few questions with one of these tropes. I'm gonna pick the chosen one, because
Okay.
I want to hear your thoughts on it, Marae.
Gosh.
So like, what kind of stories and like what kind of characters would work with the chosen one?
Well, when I think chosen one, I would probably strictly think fantasy, maybe sci-fi, like, but like for me personally, like the chosen ones books that I've read are strictly mostly fantasy. And I feel like it works very well with YA books. Like I feel like you see that a lot in YA.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe like
It just like fits. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say like coming of age, which is YA.
Yeah, coming of age, and also like the hero's journey in that coming of age. You know, they just mesh really well together with the chosen one trope.
What kind of characters would you be like looking to build around that trope?
I'm like thinking of the books I've read. I'm like, well, their parents are usually dead. Like,
I mean,
It's so true though.
they've got to have a traumatic past. With
I
lots
feel
of
like they're
pain.
usually like fairly ordinary too. That way the reader can see themselves like reflected as like, hey, I'm not special, but oh, I've been picked.
Ooh, I love that.
Well, I guess I was just thinking, and it's not fantasy, is like Katniss Everdeen, is she considered like the chosen one kind of? Or is that not it?
No, there's not like necessarily
Okay.
a prophecy, but like I could
mean,
also
you might be able
see
to.
that.
You could argue it in later books,
Yeah.
like spoilers if you
Yeah,
haven't
like how
read them
she,
at
like-
this point.
Yeah, no, I could see that because of the way that she's like used.
When they like frame her to be the lead of the rebellion, she
leader,
kind
yeah.
of is forced
Okay.
into that role.
Yeah, no, I could
But
see
not
that.
so much like prophecy, okay.
Yeah, no, but she's kind of forced into the spotlight. That's definitely a interesting mesh of tropes there. Yeah, I could go on and on about the Hunger Games.
I was gonna say not to go off topic, but I'm sure you guys saw about the new book and movie.
Yeah, I like.
So excited.
Oh man, I just recently reread all the Hunger Games, and then I read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes because I watched the movie. This is like how I roll. I watched the movie, and it just got me going. I like couldn't stop thinking about it for a whole week, and so I just had to.
Isn't that movie good?
It just like restarted. Yeah, it was insane. It was crazy.
So dark.
Yeah, it was nuts. So yeah, I'm so excited about that. It's going to be amazing. I think after I finished reading all of them, I was talking to my friend and she's like, I would like a Haymitch book. Like, I want to know what goes on with Haymitch. And I was like, I bet you she's going to do that. And I kept looking it up, but she didn't say anything. And
Didn't say.
yeah, like, well, I kept looking up. This was before the announcement to see if she was going to come out with anything. And it kept saying, no. And like, there was like an interview with her and she's like, nope, I'm good. Like, I'm not thinking about writing anything. But I was like, she's going to write something. And then
she lied to us. She knew.
Yeah. Oh, so excited. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, what about so I'm gonna like go off my husband a little bit. He's the type of guy that loves the trope of epicness, just in general, anything epic, but like epic good versus evil.
Okay.
Like really, really huge good versus evil. Basically think any character with stark white hair.
Okay.
So like, I mean, and like most books are good versus evil, but like, I feel like, is that a trope that...
Do you have like specific examples of this trope? Or like of what you're thinking?
Of Kaladin in the Stormlight Archive?
Is that kind of like Shadow and Bone?
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay. Okay. Or like,
Yeah.
I always think of Lord of the Rings. I don't know if that's like...
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, I didn't think of that one. But yeah, like with that trope, how could you like fit that one? Like, okay, where would that one fit? I guess.
Well, I feel like if I read that like in a contemporary, I wouldn't enjoy it. Like good versus evil, like a day to day. Like it has to be like completely like something like that just wouldn't exist in our world unless it was like maybe like a dark romance or something, like just like a dark like something more in that lines. I feel like it has to be definitely more in that unbelievable like realm.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like, and you could do like a modern world but with fantasy elements.
Yes.
Like,
and I guess it could be in like I don't know. I'm like I don't know. It just I guess depends. I don't know if I would like reading that. But then I'm like, there's like thrillers and stuff too, and thrillers are really fun, like or mysteries.
Yeah, and sometimes those.
What do you think?
I'm thinking of, there's a vampire movie out there that my husband loves. That kind of does that. It's in the modern world, and it's just about a bunch of vampires and how they have to conquer the bad vampires that are trying to like take over the human race. So I feel like you could mesh it, but you're right. It has to be done like emotionally and mentally outside of the world, because you're not going to find a regular human being with insane powers, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, I found a list of like 7 popular tropes. If we want, we could like go through them and just say yay or nay. Like, yes, why would you do this one, or why wouldn't you like this one?
Okay, that sounds fun.
Yeah, so this one, the first one, this is what got me thinking about it, because it ties back, I think, kind of to what you're trying to go with this good versus evil. The quest, where it involves like a character or group of characters setting off on a journey to achieve a specific goal, like normally revolving around conquering evil, right? So like think Lord of the Rings or The Dark Tower, which is a horror novel by Stephen King.
Yeah, I've always liked those. That my first book, that was what I tried to do, was a quest. What about you, Marae?
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan. I think they're fun. I always think back to the Throne of Glass series, because there's like some parts of that are kind of like they're getting people, and I think it's fun.
That is true.
Love that one.
Yeah, that's really
okay, the next trope that they have listed is a ragtag bunch of misfits.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. I just think it's Six of Crows comes to my mind.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Or like a Peter Pan kind of thing.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I think those are fun because it's kind of like almost borderline anti-hero because it's like chaotic characters.
Have you read the Shatter Me series? I think it's YA.
No,
They kind of,
but
I
it's on
feel
my
like
list.
it's a good one. I feel like they kind of have like a band of like misfits in a way because I mean they have like kind of, I think they got like superpowers from like radioactive or something. I don't know. It's kind of that's
Okay.
what that kind of means.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
kind of like a random conglomerate of heroes.
Yes.
One example it gave here is like the Mistborn series, which is like a fairly popular fantasy one, I guess, because it's just like a random collective of thieves.
Mhm.
Okay, the next trope, the heroic last stand. Yeah, good guys fighting much stronger force without much hope of success.
Okay.
Yeah, I love those.
I like it.
Those are really good.
Yeah, I think that's a fun one. Okay, this one I think can fit outside of just fantasy. I feel like most of these have been like fantasy tropes, but the action girl. So it's basically like the girl who is as far from damsel in distress trope as you're likely to get.
I enjoy I like those. I for some reason instantly thought of Tomb Raider. I don't know why. Did you guys ever watch
Yeah,
those movies?
she'd fit into this.
Oh, yeah,
It's
I
a
did
fun
see that
one.
a long time ago.
I feel like Katniss too falls into this.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Speaking of Hunger
Katniss.
Games,
Definitely. I thought of just a new movie that came out, Damsel, with Millie Bobby Brown. I honestly didn't.
yes.
Yeah, that
Oh, I
one.
watched it. Yeah. That's a
That
good
one.
example of this.
Yeah, because she is the damsel in distress, but she like overcomes the stereotype. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Two, it has listed, we've kind of already talked about like redemption arcs. They call it something different, but it's basically just like a redemption arc where the bad guy turns good.
Okay. I like those. I think
Those
they're
are the
fun.
best. Yeah, those
Those
are
are fun.
Those are cool.
I think those are some of the most like in-depth characters you can get. And then the last one they had is like gray morality characters.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
man.
mean, who's gonna pass up that?
Those like always put me on edge for some reason. Some people love that, some people hate that, and I hate that. I can't stand it.
See,
I
I
get your
instantly thought
yeah.
of like Resand.
Yes, I'm like, I
From-
think I'm thinking more like along the lines like maybe we'll murder you or not. I don't know.
The definition was just like it depicts both sides of a conflict sympathetically. No one is completely good or evil. Characters are fallible and flawed. So like a protagonist might have like dubious methods to achieve a goal. Or they might demonstrate both like ruthlessness and compassion.
So like Daredevil. A little.
Yeah, kind of more like the vigilante. Or they can be.
That's a good way to describe it. Like Batman.
I think that for me that I could go both ways on that, depending on how it's done. Do you have a challenge for our listeners?
Maybe try a new trope. Write a new trope.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, just pick something new and try something you've never done
try
before.
something new. Yeah. Even if it's just taking your characters out of your book, like that's not applicable to the book actually, and writing a little trope, like just as a writing thing, that might be fun.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you so much for
thank you guys for
being on
having
with
me.
us.